What's up, everybody? Welcome into Studio Day Heffrey. We have breaking Cowboy news, which means it's time for a breaking video from Studio Day Heffrey. Mike McCarthy spoke with the print press today, with the papers. And I've got everything that he told them and what it means for the Cowboys. So get it locked in right here. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page. And I'd appreciate you very much. Apparently, there's a little bell you can click to make sure you're notified when I post something. Then you'll be up to date on the Cowboys at all times. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Okay, so Mike McCarthy with the print press. Some of the highlights, Dave Hellman, Cowboys.com. My friend and a sweet man and an LSU Tiger. So he's a national champion. With a great recap of all the things that he said. Number one. Smart Mike McCarthy decision number one. Kellen Moore's calling the plays. I thought when Mike McCarthy said back in 2016 that I'll never give up play calling again, that he meant it. But apparently a year off and time to reflect, maybe that means that you realize that there might be a better way. The reason that I'm a fan of this is, one, I'm going to draw you out all the scenarios, but the reason I'm a fan of it is because the offense was really good last year. I know nobody wants to admit it because they were 8-8, and I got to punch Mike Bassick in the face twice a week defending that the Cowboys offense was actually good. But the Cowboys offense was good this year. If you can find a way as the new head coach to implement whatever it is that you think needs to be implemented on this team, but leave in place a play caller that McCarthy says that he's a fan of. He says that he's a fan of Kellen Moore, that he was a fan, and even if he didn't end up with the Cowboys, that he was interested in Kellen Moore. So if that's true, that's awesome news, because what you get is your quarterback, your young quarterback. He gets to keep his verbiage. He gets to keep the letter names for his receivers. He gets to keep all of the things that he's used to on the football team and just continue to grow with an offensive coordinator and a head coach that'll get together about how this offense is going to look, and they'll come up with what they think is the best plan. Two guys that I think I believe in the way that they work with quarterbacks. I believe in Kellen Moore's vision for an offense, and I know it's a little bit muddled. I'm trying to be exactly clear on, well, what does Kellen Moore believe? How much was a Jason Garrett influence last year? But right now we're just grasping at sort of optimistic straws in an offseason because that's what an offseason's all about. But you look at Mike McCarthy talking about how in Green Bay we got away from pre-snap motions and shifts, and Kellen Moore and his deal with Peter King where he's talking about one of his favorite plays, and it's a play that Kellen Moore was calling. Stomp, you got to stop eating on the thing while I'm doing a video. I don't want to actually yell at her. I got to give her all the loves. I give you all the loves, Dollface. Yes, you're so sweet. Where was I? So Kellen's going to call the plays, and I'm a fan of that. I want to see what he looks like in year two as a play caller with the same quarterback without, and maybe we're wrong about this, maybe Jason Garrett is the best coach that ever lived and he was just neutered by Jerry and so life got tough. But with a coach that I believe leans super conservative out of the way, only problem is the guy that's coming in, some of the things that people in Green Bay would say drove them mad was how conservative he was. So we got to see. We have to see what Mike McCarthy is actually going to be. But I think the step of being willing to give up play calling when you said you never would again, being able to give that up, to me, that could easily be construed as a sign of a guy who's actually learned in his time off and actually is a believer in what Kellen Moore can do and letting him and his quarterback continue to work together. So that's all good with me. That's all good with me. The potential downside, if you're a cynic, if you're a pessimist, well, the potential downside would, of course, be that Mike McCarthy cleaned out almost all the staff, except for Nussmeier and Kellen. And then Kellen's going to call the plays, but Mike said he'd never give up play calling. So a cynic could say that maybe Jerry, when he said, yeah, Mike, you get to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but you keep Kellen Moore and he calls the plays. And in that case, then you would be starting your new head coach off on the worst foot possible, which is the owner dictating to you something about your staff. That's if you're a cynic. And I don't know. I don't know if you're an optimist or a cynic. Next, breaking piece of Cowboy news from this afternoon/evening is McCarthy seemed to take issue with the idea of 4-3 versus 3-4 defense because everyone does everything in this day and age, but McCarthy said the Cowboys will primarily use 4-down linemen on defense. So if you are somebody that was freaking out about, oh my God, what would DeMarcus Lawrence do in a 3-4? It's so much different. It's not much different. He'd have played the, quote, Sam linebacker, but they'd have played nickel a ton and his role wouldn't have changed barely at all. So they're going to stick with essentially what the Cowboys have been doing, but McCarthy did seem to be hinting towards, we will not look the same every snap. We're going to mix it up. And to me, that's what every defensive coordinator or every head coach should be talking about with defense. Don't tell me you're a 4-3 cover 3 team. Tell me I'm a team that's going to look at the team we're playing that week, and I'm going to do whatever I think is best to stop them from scoring points. That's my defensive plan. It's not 3-4. It's not 4-3. It's whatever I think on this week gives us the best opportunity to stop them and to force turnovers. If you have to say, well, I run the Tampa too, well, you need more experience. You need to, what Mike McCarthy is talking about, you need to look at the players that you have and determine, what can I run to put them in the best position to succeed? What can you do? And you do, and you do, and you back there, what can you do? Figure out what all your players are best at, and then suit your scheme to their needs. The NFL has been outdated in this way for a long time. And not everybody. There's a lot of great coaches, but far too often you hear coaches tied to an identity with offense or defense because people like to say you have an identity. Why? It sounds cool. That's who we are. You want to have a really cool identity tied to the Cowboys? Win the Super Bowl. Because then you'll look back at the season they had and you'll pick who the best players were, and that will have been their identity. You don't have to go into a game. Our identity is we run the ball. All right, there's 8 in the box. You're playing the Rams in the playoffs. You're getting a yard and a half a carry. You're getting stuffed, and it's time to adjust. But no, my team doesn't adjust. Why? Because that's our identity. Burn your identity. Not in real life, like not your driver's license or your Social Security. But on a football field, burn your identity and show up every week prepared to adapt to whatever's in front of you. Come in with the best game plan you can for what they like to do. And when they start doing different things, and then you're ready to start doing different things, and do the things that give each individual player the best chance to succeed, and screw identity. That's what I say about identity. So, yeah, they're going to be a 4-3 team, most of the time anyway. Kellen Moore is going to call the plays. They're going to leave the existing language of the offense, which I love because the offense was good last year. I don't care what you think. The offense was good last year. And finally, the Cowboys' new coaching staff won't be going to the Senior Bowl. There's too much work to do building the program, and technology advances mitigate the benefit of going to Mobile. In other words, you can get great tape. I know because I'll get it. You can get great tape of the practices of the Senior Bowl. You can get everything you need from down there. Not quite everything. You can get the tape. You can't get the one-on-one interaction with a player. Seeing people live does have a benefit, I promise. So there are some things that the coaching staff isn't going to get. Now, this is my favorite part of the breaking news. Here's why. Do you know who needs the benefit of seeing these Senior Bowl players in person, visiting with them, trying to get a feel for who they are, what they're about, what's your football character, what's your life character, what do I like about the way that you play when I'm watching you from right here? You know who needs to see that? Not the coaches. No, sir. No, ma'am. Could be sirs or ma'ams watching. No, sir. No, ma'am. The scouts need to see that. This is one of the things that excites me the most about a coaching change for the Cowboys right now. Is a lot of the coaches that were with the Cowboys that won't be this year had built up a lot of cachet with Jerry Jones, and that cachet goes from coaching into personnel. So Rod Marinelli can fall in love with Tristan Hill, and you can waste a pick on a guy who didn't have good college production, didn't play in a real good conference, still didn't have good production, wasn't a full-time starter. Little tit for tat going with the coaching staff down there. But Rod likes the flashes on tape. They hung out on his birthday in a hotel room. And if Rod really likes the guy, gets to pick him. Draw whatever parallel you want, because what's happening here, or what was happening here, is you have scouts who are hired to do one job: scout the players. So in a lot of cases, if I'm a scout and I'm at the Senior Bowl and I'm watching Michael Pittman, USC wide receiver, well, I've been a scout for this organization for a while. I've actually been watching this player's entire career, so I've been watching him for 4 years. I've done the background work. I know who he is. Now I'm at the Senior Bowl watching him against this level of competition, and I've got 4 years of work in on if a guy's a senior, 3 if he's a junior, whatever, and I've done all the legwork. And then I'm going to meet up with all my other scouts, and we're going to have watched all these players, know all their background, know everything about them, and we already know what our coaching staff wants the players to be able to do. We can factor that in. Bam! We're going to rank these players. We're going to build a board. And that board is going to be awesome because we put our sweat and tears and blood into that board. And then once we built it all the way, we're going to get a little bit before the draft. And for a couple of weeks, coach is going to watch tape. And then coach is going to go, I like Tristan Hill. And the scout's going to go, that's cool. Well, you see we got him graded here somewhere in the 3rd round or whatever. We got him right there. Yeah, we got him there. We know. You probably like his initial quickness. We know you like that. He flashes that. And that's great. We know that. That's why he's where he is on the board. Yeah, but I like him. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. But that's where we got him. So, if we got him 88th on the board. So, if we get to the 3rd round and 88th guy's towards the top of the board, and we pick, that's cool, whatever. But no. This coach has built up cachet. What he wants, what he says, has pull. So you get to pick a player. Maybe you get to move guys around on the board. I really like him. Move him up. But I've already done the work. I did all the work. This is my job. My job is to put them in order. And then you, or it doesn't matter. It could be any coach. I don't mean to pick on Marinelli. He's a sweet man. I love that man to death. But him and Tristan Hill and Taco Charlton, I can't prove that he had big pull on that one, but I believe that he did. And, pick another coach and then go grab his players that he got to pick. And with the coaches not in Mobile because they're busy having to build a staff, it means the scouts can do their job. And nobody else who hasn't been scouting them can go, ooh, like that guy. Move him up. No. You're a professional football coach. You coach them. My job is to evaluate talent. I will do that. Then we will pick the players based on how we evaluated them, and then you will get to coach better players than if you picked them yourself. So you just do your job. So that's the breaking Cowboys news of the day. The coaching staff won't be at the Senior Bowl. They're going to run a 4-3, and Kellen Moore is going to call the plays. Today in the comments, leave me your favorite... I don't have a good plan today. Leave me your favorite item in your living room because I just moved my hanging egg chair into the living room. It's going to be like my namaste corner. What's your favorite item in your living room? See Stomp, you can hear her playing with her little pig. That means it's time to go. Time to end the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the page. See you on 105.3 The Fan tomorrow.